In calculus, the long way isn't always the best way. In fact, it's usually not. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most satisfying shortcuts in all of math, the rules of differentiation. We are going to find a much, much faster way to get the job done.
Have you ever been there, spending page after page on a single calculus problem, finding the derivative, and just praying you didn't make one tiny mistake somewhere along the way? Yeah, you're definitely not alone.
So, that super long, messy method, it's got a name: differentiation from first principles. It involves this huge calculation, which makes it incredibly easy to slip up. It's important for understanding the concept for sure, but fast, not a chance.
Okay, so just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got this monster of a formula from first principles. And on the right, something clean, simple, and incredibly powerful. Our goal today is to get you using the shortcut on the right like it's second nature.
So before we master the shortcuts, let's just take a moment to appreciate the mountain we're about to sidestep. Those long, complex, and frankly, tedious calculations. But what if I told you there's a better way, a way to get the exact same answer, but in a tiny fraction of the time, with way less risk of making a mistake? Well, the good news is, there is.
Okay, let's pull back the curtain. Meet your new best friends, the rules of differentiation. Instead of one giant, scary formula, we have a few simple, powerful rules that work together. Seriously, mastering these is a total game changer.
All right, we're going to start with the easiest rule on the books, the constant rule. It's super simple. If you have a term that's just a number with no x attached to it, its derivative is 0. Boom, done. Think about it. A constant number doesn't change, so its rate of change is 0.
And now, for the main event, the hero of our story today, the power rule. This little guy is the engine that's going to do most of the heavy lifting for us. It looks simple, and trust me, it really is.
The power rule is basically a two-step dance. It's super easy. Step 1, you grab that exponent and bring it down to the front to multiply. Step 2, you just subtract 1 from that original exponent to get the new one. That's it. Bring the power down, then reduce the power by 1. That's the whole move.
Now, the power rule is amazing, but it does have a couple of sidekicks that make it even more powerful. The sum and difference rules just mean you can tackle big, long expressions one piece at a time. And the constant multiple rule, well, that just says if you have a number hanging out in front, like in 5x squared, you just let that 5 chill while you do the power rule dance on the x squared part.
All right, time to open up the playbook. Because before you can actually use these awesome rules, you got to make sure the field is set up correctly. This prep work is crucial.
And this is absolutely key. The power rule is a bit picky. It only works on terms that look like x raised to some number. If your problem doesn't look like that right away, you have to do a little tidying up first.
For example, the power rule sees a square root symbol and just gets confused. But you know better, right? You know that the square root of x is just a fancy way of writing x to the power of 1/2. Once you rewrite it like that, it's power rule ready and you're good to go.
And here's the other big one you'll see all the time. The power rule needs that x up on the main level, in the numerator. So if you've got something like 1 over x cubed, no problem. Just bring that x cubed upstairs. The only thing that changes is the exponent flips to negative. Now it's ready for action.
So think of this as your pre-flight checklist. Before you even think about differentiating, always simplify first. Pop open any brackets, split up fractions into neat individual terms, and this is the big one. Rewrite every root and fraction into that proper x to the power of n format.
Okay, so we've got the how. We know the mechanics, the steps, but let's zoom out for a second. What are we actually doing here? What does this all mean?
This, right here, is the big idea. The whole point. That thing you just calculated, the derivative, it's not just a random jumble of letters and numbers. It is a formula for the gradient, for the steepness of your original graph.
And the best way to think about this, imagine your graph is a roller coaster track. It's got hills, it's got drops, it's got flat sections, it's the whole ride.
So when your roller coaster cart is chugging uphill, the graph is increasing, right? That means the gradient is positive. And when you're screaming down a huge drop, the graph is decreasing, so the gradient is negative. The derivative is the thing that tells you exactly how steep it is at any given moment.
And that is the real magic. The derivative isn't just one number for one spot on the ride. It's a whole new formula, a powerful tool that lets you find the exact steepness of that roller coaster track at any point you want. You just plug in an x value and boom, out pops the gradient right there.
So let me leave you with a question to chew on.
If the derivative gives us the steepness of the ride, what's its value at the very peak of a hill or the very bottom of a valley? You know, that split second where the ride is perfectly, completely flat. Figuring that out is the key to finding maximums and minimums, and it's your ticket to the next amazing part of calculus.